somewhere in space. This may all be happening right now.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home. Stand by.
I'm going to talk about Star Wars Episode 4 since Episode 7 is coming out.
So what can you really say about a movie that completely changed your life? I was 7 years old, and we went to go see this at a movie theater here called the... of course, I cannot remember the name of the place, but it's still there, but now it's like a banquet hall.
The Mark Twain?
Yeah, it was a Mark Twain. How'd you know?
Because I went there. I saw Ghostbusters there.
So did I. So I was 7 years old, standing outside, middle of summer, and everybody was out there just sweating. And it was me, and my mom, and my dad, and his best friend George, and I believe my sister was there, and it was a huge crowd. And I still remember like it was yesterday, man. And you know, your life changes forever. I mean, it did for me. That was a turning point of everything. I mean, that was it. That's why we're sitting here right now doing these videos, is because of Star Wars.
One thing I remember about seeing Star Wars is the first time I saw it, I wanted to see it again. I wanted to see it again, and I wanted to see it again. And because of that, because I just immediately fell in love with this movie. My grandmother would take me anytime I asked, no matter how many times I've seen it. I would say, well, Star Wars is at the Granada. She would take me to go there. I mean, my grandmother took me to see this movie, and it's one of my happy memories of me and my grandmother that I cherish deeply. I saw it not only with my grandmother, but I saw it with my mom and my brother. It was a movie that, like you said, it just changed my life.
If somebody's lucky, something like that will happen to them once in a lifetime. I mean, it could be a book that somebody reads, a television program somebody watches, a painting, a place maybe somebody goes, something that is life-changing. And for me, it was this film. I mean, it's the beginning of everything. It made me start writing, which now I have like 6 novels that I published. It made me, start making videos and movies and using my imagination. It started me collecting action figures. Everything that I pretty much have become is out of that Star Wars film.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, it has become a huge part of my life. Not only because I collect the action figures, but just with the themes of the movie. And I don't know, it's just a big part of my life. I don't think I've ever gone a day without actually Star Wars being there somewhere.
The one memory that I have, and it's a weird memory, is very first action figure that I remember having and collecting was C-3PO.
Did you hear that? This is madness.
And I remember walking down my alleyway with holding C-3PO and playing with him on top of the dumpsters in the alleyway.
This time you have gone too far.
And that's like one of the first memories I ever had of collecting a figure. And from then, I have, an entire house full of thousands of them now.
Well, my first action figure of Star Wars was actually Darth Vader.
The Force is strong in this one.
And I remember coming home from school. My mom had bought Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi for a surprise for me and my brother. But yeah, from that moment on, my brother and I, we both played with the action figures, and we collected them, and all the way through all 3 films, and now even up to now, to Force Awakens.
I remember probably one of my favorite Christmases ever was when I got the Death Star, and remember just on Christmas Day putting that thing together, and then having like the little foam things where it was in a trash compactor pit, and they had a little thing you turned, it would close it and everything, and it had the monster in there and the different floors, and that was the best thing ever.
My first Star Wars Christmas, I got the X-Wing fighter and the TIE fighter. And I believe we got X-Wing, Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot. And eventually we got Han Solo and that. But I didn't actually get the Millennium Falcon until around the time Empire Strikes Back came out. I finally got the Millennium Falcon. And again, this is another cherished thing that I share because of my grandmother. Before she passed away, she saw a commercial for the Millennium Falcon, and she told my mom, she says, I want to get that for him for Christmas. And unfortunately, my grandmother got sick before that just before that Christmas, before my birthday actually. And so it was kind of bittersweet when I got it, but I still have it because of that.
So, I mean, we can't even really talk about the movie. I mean, what are you going to say about this film, Vince?
I know it's hard to say something about it that hasn't been said, and that's was really hard.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we can say about it is what we just said, how it changed our lives, and that's what it did. And I watched the film again, right before this review, and it was just phenomenal. It's still phenomenal. But the version that we have now, obviously, is the one that George Lucas went back and messed up and tampered with and added everything to it. So it's not the original film still.
Watching this film on Blu-ray and with the sound and the picture is just phenomenal. Look, it looks fantastic. It looks like it was made yesterday.
The thing about the film, as it is now, is it's been tampered with so much, I couldn't tell you anymore what was original in the film and what was added. I mean, obviously all the CG stuff was added with the dewbacks, and that was added right when CG was sort of just starting out, so you can kind of see how terrible that was.
See, a lot of people get upset because George Lucas went in there and did his enhancements to the movie, but I never did. I loved it. I love the fact that he put in dewbacks, and I love the fact that he went back and put in the Jabba the Hutt scene, and put in the Duke's Biggs Darklighter Dukes. Where did I get Dukes from?
The Duke Boys were in that film.
He put the Duke Boys in it. Yeehaw!
Roscoe Pico train showed up. Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people hate it because of that, the new version of it. It don't bother me, but I liked the old version of it. I want to see the cardboard dewback in the background or whatever, That is the film that inspired me, and that's the film I want to see again. And maybe one of these years they will release an untouched version of it.
I would love to see that too. I'd love to show that to my kids as well, and say this is what originally was Star Wars. This is what I grew up on right here.
You know what I would love to see one day though is seeing the untouched versions, because the only ever time I saw episode 4, 5, 6 stuff like that is all with the special editions and newly added stuff, stuff that was from the untouched that was cut out and stuff like that. So that's one thing I would like to see, is to go see it like how it came out the first time.
As far as this goes, I loved most of the enhancements that George Lucas did to it, because he went in and put it in the Jabba the Hutt scene. He redid some of the X-Wing fighters and made it look more of a rebel force rather than 3 X-Wing fighters. You've got like 18 of them now. I didn't mind that at all. When he enhanced the special effects, that doesn't bother me. The only scene that ever bothered me, and I will totally agree with anyone else, any other fan that says this, is the Han Solo scene in the cantina with Greedo. I hated that he did that. You should just left that one alone.
Well, the other 2 scenes that I didn't like that he fixed was the one where R2-D2 goes back into that cave.
Oh, yeah.
And he put extra rocks. It's like, how would he even get in there? I mean, did he use his rocket boosters and slide in there somehow? We didn't see it. But there was not enough space for him to even maneuver into that place.
I actually kind of like that. It made a little more sense to me. So, like, because if I was hiding from the sand people and stuff like that, I would want to hide behind a few more rocks than where he was.
And he did that in this version of it. So if you watch any of the other special edition, like if you watch it on DVD, it's not there.
That bothered me, and the other scene that bothered me was... I was like, what is that? I was like, what?
That's supposed to be that dragon, that crate dragon noise that Obi-Wan does. Why did he change that? He made it in this goofy sounding growl.
It didn't sound like it's scary. It sounded like he was like maniac laughing. It was pretty funny. You know. Woo!
I was perfectly fine with him, whatever sound that he made the first time. I don't need it to be redone.
Yeah, I agree. He also went back in the Blu-ray here and he's touched up Jabba the Hutt. I know he's trying to get him to look a lot more like he did in Return of the Jedi. So I understand why he was trying to do it, but he didn't really need to. So in the set, there's on the bonus discs, there's deleted scenes to this movie that are incredible, actually. I knew about some of them. I knew about the Jabba the Hutt thing, and I knew about the Tashi Station and Biggs Darklighter. I knew of those, but there's actually more than that.
Yeah, that whole scene with the Tashi Station was amazing. I mean, it lasted what, like 2 or 3 minutes? And now you're telling me that, now I remember it, because I hadn't watched this box set in a while now. And yeah, I remember all the scenes, and I'm watching them, I was like, holy cow, I didn't know they existed. It was really cool to see them.
I love the Biggs Darklighter scenes. I really wish he, in putting all that stuff back in there, I really wish he would enhance that one. And because, when you watch it, it's all grainy, and you see, pops and squirts and all kinds of stuff happening in it. But it's really a cool, powerful scene, actually. But I really wish he would have put that back in there, because it would make more sense with the little small part that you see in the battle at the end.
So I don't even know if we even need to get a rating to this. I mean, do you want to give a rating to this?
That's what people really want, and I definitely just have to give it the
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Yeah, that's for both of us. I mean, there is no other... I would even give it a higher than that. I mean, there is nothing else like this. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime... Ugh, I got burps, Vince.
The whole thing is, it's a timeless story. It's a well-done story. It's got everything that you could ever want in it. I mean, it's got princesses, it's got pirates, it's got evil, it's got good, it's got comedy, it's got horror, it's got suspense, action, adventure. It's like every movie that you've ever seen all rolled up into one.
Because 5 and 6, they were amazing to me. So was 1, 2, and 3, which I still like those, the prequels too. But the thing is also that no Star Wars movie actually disappointed me or I hated it. That includes 1, but to go back and watch episode 4, that's amazing to see what Star Wars used to be and now what it's going to become. It's one of my favorites now, because I liked most of the characters that were in there, and the actors were phenomenal at playing their roles. Even for an old movie like it is, it's still entertains me. I don't never lose my interest in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a great classic adventure tale. It's, there's nothing like this. And it's such a great film because it never slows down. There's no, oh man, when is this ever going to get over with? It's just a great story from beginning to end. there's nothing wrong with this movie.
Exactly. And no matter how many times I watch it, and I've watched it way over, I'm sure around 3,000 times now.
Wow.
I mean, no matter how much I watch the movie, I never get tired of it. It never gets old for me. To me, that's the sign of a great classic film. And it's not just my love for it, it just never gets old.
So, I mean, it's hard to review these next three films because of them being what they are, and everyone probably knowing what we're going to say about them before they even watch this review. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, they're going to love it because it's Star Wars, and it is, and it's fun. As I enjoyed sitting here remembering, all that stuff, and that's kind of what these reviews are, I guess, is remembering the past and how good and how inspirational these films really were. So, what's up next, Vince?
So, to see Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, you're going to have to subscribe. Down there.
You might turn to the dark side.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.